Welcome to NHL Wraparound Short Shifts for Tuesday, the 14th of October, 2025. Vic and Neil with you. You're a big Wordle fan, aren't you? Before we get into any of the hockey stuff?
I like Wordle a lot. I'm good at it. I'm not good at it, but I mean, I enjoy it.
I've seen you play the competition version against your wife, Margaret, and it's like a steel cage death match. The way you two compete against each other.
Oh, well, I think she would say it's more me just competing against her and having to win every time, which I do. However many games we play, where you go back and forth, I'm always on top. So it's
that's not her story.
What's her story?
I think she'll tell you that she wins.
No, she never wins.
All right,
she never wins. She can't beat me.
I got a story for you.
All right.
Because I play the individual version. So Sunday morning, I was going after my 150th consecutive correct solve after having a 58-day streak before that. I wind up having 4 out of the 5 letters after my third guess. They're the last 4 letters, O-U-N-D. I've got 4 options and 3 guesses. I guess found, hound, round, and I'm wrong because it was wound or wound, if you will, which I was after not being able to solve that puzzle. And I should have thought they've done about 1,600 of these puzzles. And so you should really go for the more uncommon word, which I didn't do. And so my streak ended and I came downstairs. I reported to Elise. I told her that I had not solved the puzzle. And she said, well, I don't play that often, but don't tell me what the word was and I'll just play. So I run upstairs to get a sweatshirt and go out for breakfast afterwards. And she yells down, Vic! And I'm like, no, it can't be. For the first time, she gets that word on guess number 1.
No way.
Absolutely true. No tip-off, a complete Hail Mary. She gets the word on the first guess.
Did you ask her what would ever make you put that word in as your first guess?
No, and I use the same word on every first guess. I use the word guise, G-U-I-S-E, which has never come up before in Wordle, and I've never gotten it on one. She never uses the same word. That's what came to mind. And so not only does my streak end and I don't get my 150-day badge, she gets it on the first one. So
and
that's
she inflicted a wound.
She did.
And
she did.
But there is something to be said for telepathic communication because there's got to be something going on there telepathically.
Well, whatever it was, I congratulated her. It actually makes the story better. This is not made up, and we've burned 3 minutes and 45 seconds. So let's get on to the hockey. And first of all, let's talk about the 3 winless teams that are left in the NHL heading into Tuesday's action and whether or not we perceive all winless streaks being created equal or not. The Buffalo Sabres, 0-3. They've lost to the Rangers, Boston, and Colorado. Actually started off the game pretty well yesterday, and you kind of knew where that was going to go when they couldn't get the first goal. They're saying fire Kevin Adams in the stands in Buffalo. New York Islanders, 0-3 also. Lost by a goal in Pittsburgh. Lost to Washington at home in their home opener. And then 5-2 in Winnipeg on Monday afternoon. And then the San Jose Sharks. They haven't won, but they've lost 2 games in overtime, mainly because their goaltending has stunk out the joint and they haven't been able to hold leads. So with all that said, are these no-win starts all created equal in your mind?
Oh, absolutely not. I mean, there is a distinct difference between Buffalo in their 15th year of perhaps not making the playoffs, 15th straight year, having at least 2 first overall picks on their team and a lot of other good players. I mean, they're not rebuilding anymore. They're supposed to be in the playoffs without a doubt, and they can't seem to find their way. The New York Islanders have torn down part of their club by trading Dobson and trading Brock Nelson and not really replacing them. They picked up Drouin in the offseason, but they're going to be a team that's looking to the future. And the San Jose Sharks are definitely in a rebuild mode. They're hoping to be in the last percentage of the rebuild, before they start to want to make the playoffs every year. But for them to get 2 points in their first 2 games, isn't a bad thing, I don't think. And especially when it was against the Vegas Golden Knights and a much improved Anaheim team. So I think they're really different. There's just this malaise of black cloud lying over Buffalo that for the life of me, I don't know what they got to do other than start over again with a different leader with a different mindset.
We're going to have Mike Harrington from the Buffalo News on NHL Wraparound on Wednesday in advance of their game against the Ottawa Senators later that evening, with the Senators receiving some pretty difficult injury news earlier on Tuesday.
Yeah, Brady Tkachuk going down after that hit in the game against Nashville. And the captain, Roman Josi, who is really not a dirty player.
No,
but he hit
not.
Brady Tkachuk fairly close to the boards. Tkachuk went in and his wrist turned over. You could see that. And he was in quite a bit of pain. And is it a sprain or a break? I don't know which.
Right now, they're looking to evaluate whether surgery might even be necessary. But nonetheless, that's going to be a huge loss for the Ottawa Senators. But going back to our winless teams, I do want to talk about Matthew Schaefer because you saw him for the first time at UBS Arena on Saturday. And let's put some numbers to the amount of ice time that he's getting. First of all, he's gotten a point in each of his first 3 games. First career game in Pittsburgh where he got an assist on Jonathan Drouin's goal, played 17-15. And then in the 2 games against Washington and Winnipeg, 26-04 and 26-35. He is the youngest player in the history of the NHL to play more than 25 minutes in a game. And I watched him. I'm noticing him on every shift, and it looks like Patrick Waugh is giving him some leeway to roam a little bit because he's almost looking like a rover out there. But I'm wondering what your thoughts are.
I agree, and I think on a disciplined system, he'll have trouble because he just goes all the time. And I mean, he's all over the ice, and it's not always a positive thing. It might be exciting to watch because when he does get the opportunity, he can make good on it. I'm more impressed with how he is on the power play, his poise, his composure. He gets his shots through. He's going to have to be taught to rein it back. There's no doubt about that. But he is fast as lightning, great skater, good hand-eye coordination, good hand skills. He looks, at this point, 3 games into a young career, like the real deal. He really does. He's very slight. He's not Dennis Potvin out there. That's for sure.
Yeah. What about his instincts and acumen?
I think they're good, but his instincts are to go, jump. And as you know, that won't always work when you're playing against this level players.
Well, he's certainly going to get a pretty good test in his next game because Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl will be coming into UBS Arena on Thursday.
And to back that up, of course, don't forget Bouchard and Nurse, and that'll be quite a thing. Of course, before Edmonton goes there, they stop at Madison Square Garden and play against the Rangers. And so the Islanders will all be able to sit back and watch that game on TV and see what they're going to expect 2 nights later.
Another game I watched carefully on Monday were the Bruins and the Lightning. Boston comes into the game undefeated at 3-0, and the Lightning had lost their first two starts. When this game was done, I believe that Coach John Cooper was happy with the win, but not happy about certain aspects of the game. And for Marco Sturm, didn't get the result that he wanted, but was probably pretty proud of the way his club came back. And case in point was in the second period, Tampa had gone up 4-1. And Eric Chernak made an absolute bonehead pinch at the blue line, led to Jordan Harris scoring his first goal as a Bruin. And John Cooper absolutely lost it behind the bench. And I think probably that was a culmination of losing the first two games and also seeing some of the discipline getting away from his club that he is so used to seeing.
Yeah, there was a number of things that I saw in that game that were concerning. And the fact that Tampa wasn't really able to hold the lead. And then the part that bothered me the most was the guy that I really like, Nikita Kucherov, comes down the ice with an empty net, could easily have shot it into the empty net, but tries to feather a pass. I forget who it was that he was trying to get the pass across to.
Brandon Hagel.
Yeah, to Brandon Hagel. And not only is the pass not good, but he gets leveled by Pasternak. Pasternak leveled Kucherov. And, you know, if I'm the coach, I'm like, Coach, what are you doing? Why didn't you just shoot it into the net and give us the game? The game's over then. It's 5-3 and it's over. He didn't do that, and they eked out the win.
But I think maybe because Hagel, who had a career year last year, hasn't scored a goal yet. So he's trying to set him up. And before that hit that Pasternak laid on Kucherov, Pasternak actually made a leg save in the crease, stopping Hagel. So maybe this was a situation where Kucherov was being unselfish and things just didn't work out the way he's planned.
No, only Kucherov would know what he was doing and why he was doing it. But if I'm the coach, again, I want to win the game. I don't care about this other nonsense. Just shoot it into the net, get us the win, and let us get out of here.
Bruins are going to get a little bit of an acid test early here after suffering their first loss. They have a road trip to Vegas, Colorado, and Utah, and then they return home next Tuesday against the Florida Panthers and the return of longtime Bruin Brad Marchand, now a Stanley Cup winner with the Panthers.
Yeah, so now a Stanley Cup winner with the Bruins the last time they won it, and a Stanley Cup winner with the Panthers the last time they won it, which was just this year. So that'll be a good one to see.
A couple of other undefeated clubs surprising you in the West, sir?
They sure are. Nashville, who had that abominable start last year after signing all those free agents, are 2-0-1 in their first three games, heading into a Tuesday night game against Toronto. Seattle 2-0-0 with Lane Lambert behind the bench, beating Joel Kenville's Anaheim Ducks and the Vegas Golden Knights. And Seattle will travel to Montreal on Tuesday and see if Lane Lambert can make it 3-0. How about a couple of coaching wins for the first time ever with new teams? Jeff Blashill, the former Detroit Red Wing coach. The biggest rivalry in the Midwest is Chicago and Detroit. He now coaches Chicago Blackhawks, and they defeated the Utah Mammoth 3-1 on Monday, and that game was at the United Center. Rick Tocchet, the former Philadelphia Flyer player, has the Florida Panthers, Stanley Cup winners, as we remind you again, two-time Stanley Cup winners, back-to-back, come into Philadelphia, and they're able to beat them, much on the histrionics of Trevor Zegras on his game-winning assist to Couturier, and just a great move by evading Aaron Ekblad and Sam Bennett, who both, I'm sure, wanted to plaster him to the boards, but he somehow squeaked out of it and made this backhand pass to Couturier, who put in the winning goal.
Late in the third period, then the Flyers added a couple of empty netters. So 5-2 win for the Flyers, so that gets them their first win of the season. And also on Monday, Jonathan Toews got an assist on a first period goal by Nino Niederreiter. It's his first point since April 14th, 2023 in the win at UBS Arena. And watching Toews, he doesn't look like he's missed a step because he had 3 or 4 good scoring opportunities in that game. And I think it's just a matter of time before the hands come back because the legs certainly look like they're there.
And the pass that he made to Niederreiter on a power play goal, by the way, was a great pass through the crease. It was really a good one. So Jonathan Toews, yeah, he looks like he's Jonathan Toews. I mean, maybe not exactly like the captain of the Blackhawks that held that Stanley Cup 3 times, but he looks like he's a real player for the Jets and a real good pickup by Kevin Cheveldayoff, the general manager.
With Nikolai Ehlers and Mason Appleton gone, he is certainly filling in a depth role well. And if he can stay healthy for the entire season, this is really a huge boost for the Jets.
Very little downside. A Winnipeg native, a proven winner, good in the room, obviously, captain of the Blackhawks during that semi-dynasty. A really good move, and it looks like it's going to pay off if he can stay healthy. But, you know, how do we know that anybody can stay healthy? It's sort of like saying, it's not like don't go getting pneumonia, don't get a cold, wear a jacket outside. There's nothing you can do in the National Hockey League to prevent yourself from taking a hit the wrong way, as we just saw yesterday with Brady Tkachuk, one of the tougher guys in the league.
Before we get to some other injury news, because there's a pretty long list even for the first week of the season, I want to get on to one of your favorite subjects, and that's contracts, because another big one was signed on Monday with Lane Hutson agreeing to an 8-year, $70.8 million extension starting next season with the Montreal Canadiens, annual cap hit of $8.85 million. Now, this deal is lower than what his teammate Noah Dobson is getting, who's in the first year of an 8-year contract, getting paid $9.5 million. Luke Hughes just extended in New Jersey, $9 million over 7 years. And Jackson Lacombe, $9 million over 8 years. I mean, really? Hudson is the defending. He's not actually defending because you can't defend the Calder Trophy, but he won the Calder Trophy last year.
He did, but my argument about that, Vic, is that he's had one real good year, and it's been a super year. That's why he won the Calder Trophy. Let's explain something to people who don't know, because you might ask, like, why is he getting to negotiate a new contract after only playing 1 year in the league? The answer to that is that in 23-24, at the end of the season, he played 2 games for the Montreal Canadiens. Them putting him on the ice for 2 games burned up the first year of his entry-level contract. So now he's only got 2 years to go. The first one was his Calder Trophy season. So now he's heading into year 3. You're allowed to negotiate a new contract heading into the 3rd year of the entry level, which is exactly what he's done. So anybody that wonders why is he able to get a new contract that quickly, that's the reason why. Now, going to Luke Hughes, the sample size that the New Jersey Devils saw in him was 2 games 3 years ago, and then he's played the last 2 years. So he's played 1 more full season than Hudson. And then Jackson Lacombe, same deal in Anaheim, 1 full year more than Lane Hudson. So perhaps in the negotiating, what the Montreal Canadiens used to talk Hudson into 8 times 8.85, which was lower than these other guys, perhaps because he doesn't have the experience that these other guys have.
There's also an age factor in here also that differs from when you first come up and you play the first 9 games of a season with the option of a club to send you back to junior hockey.
Right. And Hudson, of course, was playing in college, so you can't send a guy back to college hockey. When an 18-year-old or 19-year-old out of junior gets drafted by a club, and he's that good at training camp that they want to take a look at him during the regular season, they have 9 games to play him in before he uses up the first year of his entry level. Obviously, that's not the same with a college player, unless the college player says, look, I'm getting out at 18 or 19, and if I don't make it, you can send me to the London Knights or the Calgary team or to the Quebec League or whatever it is. So that's the answer to this whole thing, is that Hudson's first year of his contract got burned up by the 2 games he played for Montreal in 23-24.
MASH unit. You ready?
Yeah.
Already mentioned Brady Tkachuk. For the Detroit Red Wings, Lucas Raymond left in the second period in Monday's game against Toronto. He was hit by Chris Tanev and left the ice shaking his arm and shoulder. For the Buffalo Sabres, more bad news. Josh Norris out until November at least. He was injured taking a face-off in their game against the Rangers last Thursday. And that same game, Vincent Trocheck from New York suffered an upper body injury, and he's listed as week to week. And the Rangers also had to place Carson Soucy on IR after a collision and fall into the boards after encountering Rickard Rakell in New York's win in Pittsburgh on Saturday. Also, Sam Girard of Colorado out week to week with an upper body injury. Sean Durzi out 4 weeks for Utah. Upper body injury suffered in Saturday's win at Nashville. And for the Carolina Hurricanes, defenseman Jacob Slavin, day-to-day after leaving with an undisclosed injury in the Hurricanes' overtime win against Philadelphia on Saturday. His status for the Canes' 6-game road trip is in question. And goaltender Pyotr Kochetkov also on IR with an undisclosed injury. Brendan Bussey will get at least one start on this trip to kind of spell Frederick Anderson. That road trip starting on Tuesday in San Jose. Let's hit Tuesday's schedule. Nashville is at Toronto. Caden Primo will be starting in goal for the Maple Leafs in that one, former Montreal Canadian. Seattle visits Montreal. Canadiens home opener. They will be honoring Ken Dryden, who recently passed, and he'll be honored before that game by the Canadiens, as he was when the Maple Leafs opened up their season at home. So
but Ken Dryden, of course, for anybody that doesn't know this, had been an executive with the Toronto Maple Leafs for a number of years. So that's why he was honored by the Maple Leafs as well.
Quick question for you here. Edmonton is at the Rangers. Tampa Bay is at Washington. What happens first? The Rangers scored their first goal at home this season, or Alex Ovechkin scores his first goal of the season, getting himself one goal closer to 900?
That's a toss-up. Rangers better get a goal at home, because those Garden faithful, they want a goal. They want this team to play well at home, and they haven't done that so far.
And against the Oilers, I don't like the odds of that game going to a scoreless shootout either.
No, I don't either. I don't think so.
The later games, Vegas is at Calgary. Dustin Wolf expected to start his 4th consecutive game for the Flames. We're going to have more about that on NHL Wraparound on Wednesday. Minnesota is at Dallas. Carolina is in San Jose. And Michael Misa, the 2nd overall pick in this past draft, is expected to make his NHL debut. He was centering the second line in practice on Monday between Philip Kurashev and Ty Dellandrea. The Sharks keep rolling out the youth here. And I got to tell you, and I said it in our season preview, I think the days of the cellar dwelling are over, and there's a lot to be excited about in San Jose, even though neither of us think this is a playoff team. Plenty to look forward to.
Oh, definitely there is. And one thing that happened, I think it was, I read it over the weekend, was that their owner spoke up, the SAP owner who owns the Sharks, German national. He spoke up about their rebuild and about the former management and about Erik Karlsson when he had been with the Sharks, and a number of interesting things. So if you're interested to see what this owner is rarely heard from. And so if you're interested in that, look that up and look up all the different comments that some will shock you, some will surprise you.
And of course, Hasso Plattner is the gentleman that you are referring to. Final game of the night, Pittsburgh at Anaheim. Joel Quenneville makes his home debut for the Ducks.
It'll be exciting for the Ducks to waddle out with Joel Quenneville behind the bench.
You like that waddling reference. Penguins.
Well, it's either that or they're on the web.
Any sort of waterfowl gets you going, I think.
Exactly. That's why they should never have traded Cam Fowler. He was the perfect Duck.
NHL Wraparound returns Wednesday. We'll be joined by Buffalo News columnist Mike Harrington to talk about one of the most troubled franchises with their on-ice product in the last decade and a half. Remember our website, NHLWraparound.com. Got new features there, including Neil's picks. And on Monday, you selected 5 of the 10 games. You went 3-1-1. You're 18-10-4 overall for the season. So what do you have to say for yourself there?
Well, I'd like to explain to the folks what I'm actually doing, what we decided to do on this, which is we pick a maximum of 5 winners per night. So if there's 16 games, we're only picking 5 winners. And we're not picking the easiest winners. We're not picking the Goliath over Davids in every game. We're trying to move around the league, and we're just picking who's going to win the game. That's it. Simple as that. Who's going to win? And so I'm doing pretty good so far, I think.
Yes, you are. But on Tuesday, you'll be put to the test again. So that is exclusive content that you'll only see on NHLWraparound.com. So check out Neil's picks, and also check out New York Centric. Patrick Hoffman's latest column does a little bit deeper dive into the struggles that Ilya Sorokin is having in the New York Islanders net. So on behalf of Neil, I'm Vic, and enjoy the hockey on Tuesday.